cafe by the river. Evelyn always came to the small riverside cafe on Sunday mornings. It wasn't just for the coffee, it was for the silence, the soft hum of the river, and the way sunlight spilled through the windows. She would sit by the same table, sketching in her notebook. One morning, as she flipped through her pages, a voice interrupted. "Do you always draw the river, or is today special?" She looked up and saw a young man with tousled brown hair and a curious smile. He carried a book in one hand, coffee in the other. "I guess I draw what feels alive," Evelyn replied, a little startled. "Then the river must be lucky," he said, settling at the next table. "I'm Daniel, by the way." That was how it began, short conversations about books, sketches, and the weather that slowly stretched into hours. Daniel was a traveler at heart, always telling stories about places he'd been, while Evelyn confessed she rarely left town. Yet, every word he spoke felt like an open window, and every laugh of hers seemed to anchor him to the cafe. Weeks turned into months. Their Sunday mornings became a quiet ritual. Evelyn realized her sketches had changed. There were no longer just rivers and trees, but also the curve of Daniel's smile, the way his hand curled around his cup. One chilling morning in late autumn, Daniel grew quiet. His coffee went untouched. "I have to leave," he finally said, eyes lowered. "A job overseas. It's what I've been waiting for, but it means I won't be here next Sunday." Her heart tightened. She wanted to tell him to stay, but the words refused to leave her lips. Instead, she whispered, "Then let me draw you one last time." He nodded, watching her as she sketched, every line heavy with the weight of goodbye. When she was done, she tore the page out and handed it to him. "So you won't forget me?" Daniel smiled faintly, sliding his own book across the table. Inside the cover, he had written, "Not every journey takes us far away. Sometimes, the greatest one is finding the person who makes us feel at home." He touched her hand briefly, warm, fleeting, unforgettable, before walking out the door. The cafe by the river felt emptier after he left, but Evelyn kept coming every Sunday. She drew the river, the trees, and sometimes just an empty chair. She didn't know when, or if, Daniel would return. But she held on to his words like a promise. And one spring morning, when the sunlight returned and the cafe doors chimed open, Evelyn looked up, only to see Daniel standing there, holding the sketch she had given him. This time, he didn't sit at the next table. He sat across from her, smiling as though he had never left. The bridge at sunset. Amelia had always loved the old stone bridge at the edge of town. It was quiet there, a place where the river carried away secrets and dreams. One late afternoon, while sketching the golden reflection of the sunset on the water, she noticed a figure approaching. It was Daniel, the boy she once knew in high school, the boy who used to sit in the back row, always scribbling poems in his notebook. They hadn't spoken in years, not since he moved away for college. "Still drawing sunsets?" Daniel asked with a smile, his voice carrying both surprise and nostalgia. "And you?" Amelia tilted her head. "Still writing poetry?" He laughed softly, pulling a worn notebook from his coat. "Always." They stood together on the bridge, the fading light painting their faces. Conversation came easily, as if the years between them had never existed. They talked about the cities they had lived in, the mistakes they had made, and the dreams that had survived. As the sky deepened into twilight, Amelia closed her sketchbook. "Do you ever think about what could have been?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. Daniel's gaze softened. Every time I write, he admitted. The air grew still. The world around them seemed to pause, the river flowing quietly beneath, the evening breeze carrying only the scent of autumn leaves. Then, carefully, as if afraid the moment might break, Daniel reached for her hand. Amelia didn't pull away. Instead, she held on, her heart racing with a warmth she hadn't felt in years. Neither of them spoke again. Words weren't needed. The bridge, once a place of solitude, had become a place of beginning. And as the stars began to appear in the velvet sky, Amelia realized that sometimes life gave second chances, not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, like the touch of a hand at sunset. At dawn. Elena never liked waking up early, but every morning before sunrise, she crossed the small wooden bridge on her way to work. The bridge, stretched over the quiet river, seemed ordinary until the day she saw him. He stood there with a sketchbook in his hands, drawing the still water. His hair was messy, his coat a little too thin for the chill of dawn. Elena slowed her steps, curious. The stranger looked up, their eyes met, and he smiled. "Good morning," he said softly, like the words belonged to the air between them. The next day, he was there again. And the next. Soon, their greetings turned into short conversations, about the weather, about the birds on the river, about the colors of the sky at sunrise. His name was Adrian, an artist searching for inspiration. Weeks passed, and the bridge became more than just a path. It became their meeting place, a fragile space where time seemed to pause. Elena found herself waking earlier, not because she needed to, but because she wanted to. She wanted to see him waiting with his sketchbook. One morning, she asked, "Why this bridge?" Adrian hesitated, then turned the sketchbook toward her. On the page was not the river, but her, captured in strokes of pencil, her figure crossing the bridge, her hair touched by the first light of dawn. "Because of you," he said simply. Elena's heart raced. She had been a stranger, yet somehow, she had become his muse. The river carried their silence, and for the first time, she didn't want to keep walking. The city around them changed with the seasons, blossoms in spring, golden leaves in autumn, snowflakes in winter, but the bridge remained their constant. People came and went, but every dawn, they returned to each other. It wasn't dramatic, not the kind of love found in novels or movies. It was quiet, built slowly, like the steady flow of the river beneath their feet. And yet, in its simplicity, it was everything. Years later, when people asked Elena where she met the love of her life, she would smile and answer, "On a bridge at dawn."